The oak dining table where I had spent countless childhood dinners now felt like an interrogation spot. My mother's voice cut through the air, sharp and decisive. "The lake house belongs to Marcus now. Your father and I have decided." I stared at her, my birthday cake sitting untouched between us. 35 candles flickered mockingly, their warm glow at odds with the cold announcement that had just shattered my evening. But I struggled to keep my voice steady. "Grandpa promised that house to me. We talked about it every summer. I stayed with him. You know how much it means to me." The lake house had been my sanctuary growing up. While my parents focused on grooming Marcus for his destined role in the family business, I found solace in the quiet weekends with Grandpa Thomas. He taught me everything, from reading financial statements to understanding market trends, all while sitting on that old dock, fishing rods in hand. My father cleared his throat, straightening his ever-present tie. "Olivia, be reasonable. Marcus needs a proper family home now that he's made senior vice president at Turner Corp. You can't even afford the property taxes on a place like that." The familiar sting of their dismissal burned in my chest. In their eyes, my role as founder of a tech startup meant nothing compared to Marcus's corporate climb. Never mind that I had built Sterling Industries from the ground up, working countless nights while living on ramen noodles. To them, anything outside the traditional business world was just playing entrepreneur. "I can afford it," I said quietly. "Sterling Industries is doing well." My mother's laugh held that particular note of condescension she had perfected over the years. "Darling, running a little software company from your apartment isn't the same as real business. Marcus needs this house to entertain clients, to build connections." Marcus, who had been unusually quiet, finally spoke up. "Come on, Liv. You know this makes sense. Turner Corp is expanding rapidly. We're about to close the biggest deal in company history. I need a place that reflects my position." I looked at my brother, remembering the countless times he had borrowed money from me during college, promising to pay it back once he made it big. Those loans remained unpaid, conveniently forgotten like so many other promises. "When did Grandpa change his will?" I asked, though I already suspected the answer. My father shifted uncomfortably. "The paperwork was finalized last month. Your grandfather's condition has been deteriorating. We simply helped him make the sensible choice." "You mean you pressured him while he was ill?" The words came out sharper than I intended. "Did you even tell him about Sterling's success? About the contracts we secured?" "What success?" Marcus scoffed. "Last I checked, you were still working out of that tiny office downtown. Meanwhile, Turner Corp just acquired 3 major competitors." I bit back a retort. They didn't know, couldn't know, that Sterling Industries now occupied the entire top floor of that tiny office building, or that we had recently developed a revolutionary supply chain management system that was quietly transforming the industry. "The house is Marcus's now," my mother said with finality. "We're having a housewarming party next weekend. You should come, Olivia. Network a little. Maybe Marcus can help you find a real job." I stood up, my untouched birthday cake a fitting metaphor for this entire evening. "Thank you for dinner. I should go." "Don't be dramatic," my father sighed. "We're trying to help you. This startup phase of yours needs to end sometime." I gathered my coat, fighting to keep my composure. "Phase, I've spent 7 years building Sterling Industries. But you've never once asked about it, have you? Never wondered why I work such long hours or why I travel so much?" "Playing with computers isn't a career," my mother dismissed. "Marcus is handling billion-dollar acquisitions. That's real business." I paused at the door, looking back at my family gathered around that oak table. They looked so certain, so convinced of their own superiority. "You know what's funny? You're so focused on Marcus's success that you've never bothered to look beyond the surface of mine." "What's that supposed to mean?" Marcus asked, but I was already walking out. In my car, I finally let out the breath I'd been holding. My phone buzzed. A message from my COO, James. "Turner Corp just submitted their proposal. You were right. They're desperate to implement our system before the merger." I smiled despite myself. Turner Corp, my brother's precious company, had been pursuing a partnership with Sterling for months, though they didn't know I owned it. We operated through subsidiaries and shell corporations, our true ownership structure hidden behind layers of privacy protection. I typed back, "Schedule the meeting for next week. Let's see how desperate they really are." The next few days passed in a blur of meetings and strategy sessions. Sterling's management system had become the industry standard, and Turner Corp needed to complete their upcoming merger. Without our technology, their entire expansion plan would collapse. I received daily updates about the lake house. Marcus had already moved in, filling Grandpa's peaceful retreat with elaborate furniture and corporate art. The dock where I had learned about business and life was being transformed into an entertainment deck. Friday morning, I sat in my office reviewing the final contract when James knocked on my door. "Turner Corp's representatives are here, including your brother." I straightened my jacket, a simple but expertly tailored piece that cost more than Marcus's entire wardrobe. Time to welcome them to the real business world. The conference room fell silent as I walked in. Marcus sat at the table, surrounded by Turner Corp executives, his expression changing from bored to shocked as he recognized me. "Olivia? What are you doing here? This is a private meeting." I know. I took my seat at the head of the table. I'm exactly where I should be. Turner Corp's CEO, Michael Turner himself, looked between us in confusion. "You two know each other." "She's my sister," Marcus said quickly. "But I don't understand. We're here to meet with Sterling Industries leadership." "You are." I opened the contract in front of me. "I'm Olivia Sterling, founder and CEO of Sterling Industries." I enjoyed watching the color drain from Marcus's face. "Though you might know us better by our subsidiary names, we provide the technology that runs 90% of global supply chains." Michael Turner's eyes widened with recognition. The Sterling system was legendary in the industry. Their recent merger plans hinged entirely on implementing our technology. "This is impossible," Marcus stuttered. "You run a small software company, a startup." "No, Marcus. I run a multi-billion-dollar technology empire, one that your company desperately needs to partner with." I slid the contract across the table. "Shall we discuss terms?" The room remained silent as the implications sank in. My brother, who had just taken possession of my grandfather's house because I couldn't afford it, now sat across from me, needing my signature on a $100 million contract. "Why didn't you tell us?" he finally managed. "You never asked." I opened my laptop, pulling up the presentation. "Now let's talk about how Sterling Industries can help Turner Corp streamline its acquisition process." After all, I smiled, that's what real business is about, isn't it? The meeting lasted 3 hours. I watched as Marcus struggled to maintain his composure, while Michael Turner and the other executives practically fell over themselves trying to secure Sterling Industries' partnership. Every time Marcus attempted to assert his position as Senior VP, I simply pulled up another slide showing exactly how dependent their merger plans were on our technology. "These terms seem rather steep," Marcus finally said, his voice strained as he looked at the contract. "Surely there's room for negotiation, given our family connection." I raised an eyebrow. "Family connection? You mean like the connection to Grandpa's lake house?" Michael Turner's head snapped up. "Is this something we should know about?" "No," Marcus said quickly. "Personal matters. Not relevant to business." "Everything's relevant in business, Marcus. You taught me that, remember?" I turned to Michael. "The lake house, Mr. Turner, was my grandfather's property, a place where I spent years learning about business and finance. It was promised to me, but my family recently decided my brother was more deserving." Michael's expression darkened as he looked at Marcus. Everyone in the industry knew Michael's own story, how he built his first company from nothing, how he valued self-made success over inherited privilege. "The terms stand as they are," I continued. "Sterling's system is essential for your merger. Without it, you'll lose at least 6 months restructuring your entire integration plan. Can Turner Corp afford that delay?" The answer was written all over their faces. They couldn't. After the meeting, Marcus tried to corner me in the hallway. "Olivia, wait. We need to talk about this." "About what?" I stopped, turning to face him. "About how you let them take away my inheritance? Or about how you need my help to save your biggest career move? You don't understand. This merger is everything. My whole future at Turner Corp depends on it." His voice dropped to a whisper. "Please, as your brother, I'm asking you to be reasonable about the terms." I laughed. "Reasonable? Like you were reasonable about the lake house? Tell me, Marcus, have you already redecorated Grandpa's study? Turned it into a home theater, maybe?" He had the grace to look uncomfortable. The house needed updating. "It was stuck in the past, just like your attitude right now." "My attitude?" I stepped closer, keeping my voice low but intense. You and our parents spent years dismissing my work, treating me like I was playing at business. Not once did you bother to ask what Sterling Industries actually does. Not once did you show any interest in my success. I didn't know. No, you didn't. Because you didn't care to know, I straightened my jacket. The contract terms are final. Take them or leave them. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a company to run. I was halfway to my office when my phone rang. Mom. How dare you ambush your brother like this? She hissed without preamble. Marcus just called us. He's devastated. Devastated that his little startup sister runs the company he needs, or devastated that he can't bully me into better terms. This isn't like you, Olivia. Where's the sweet girl who always looked up to her brother? She grew up, Mom, built a billion-dollar company while you were all too busy praising Marcus's corporate climb to notice. We're your family. No, I cut her off. You're people who share my DNA but never shared my dreams. You didn't believe in me, so I stopped needing you to. That evening, I drove out to the lake house. Marcus wasn't there, probably still at Turner Corp trying to salvage his reputation. I stood on the dock, remembering all the summers with Grandpa. The water was calm, reflecting the sunset just like it used to when he taught me about market trends and business ethics. My phone buzzed. A message from the nursing home where Grandpa now lived. Mr. Thomas is asking for you. He's having a lucid day. I found him sitting in his usual chair, gazing out the window. His face lit up when he saw me. There's my girl, he said, his voice weaker than I remembered but still warm. I heard you finally showed them what you built. I sat beside him, taking his frail hand. You knew about Sterling? He chuckled. Of course I knew. I've been following your success since the beginning. That supply chain system of yours. Brilliant, just like I always knew you'd be. Tears pricked at my eyes. They took the lake house, Grandpa. Made you sign it over to Marcus. Did they? His eyes twinkled. Check the deed, sweetheart, really check it. The next morning, I had my lawyers pull the property records. What they found made me laugh out loud. The lake house deed my parents had pressured Grandpa to sign. It transferred ownership to a small LLC, an LLC that had been registered to Sterling Industries 5 years ago. Grandpa had outplayed them all. I drove straight to my parents' house. They were having breakfast when I walked in, Marcus with them, probably planning their next move. The lake house, I said, dropping the property records on the table. Grandpa transferred it to an LLC, my LLC. Mom's coffee cup clattered against its saucer. What? He set it up years ago, knowing you might try something like this. The house legally belongs to me. Has for years. Marcus jumped up. That's impossible. Dad's lawyers checked everything. Your lawyers checked what they could see. But Grandpa learned about shell companies from me, remember? All those summers you thought we were just fishing. My father's face had turned an interesting shade of red. You can't do this to your brother. He needs that house for his position. His position. I pulled out my phone, pulling up Sterling's latest stock valuation. You mean his position at a company that's now dependent on my technology? That position. I showed them the screen. Their faces went pale as they saw the numbers. Billions in revenue, market dominance, global reach. Now, I continued, about that contract with Turner Corp, I've reconsidered the terms. Marcus looked up hopefully. They just got steeper. And the house? I think I'll keep it exactly as it is. A reminder of where real success comes from. I turned to leave, then paused. Oh, and Mom, that sweet girl who looked up to her brother. She didn't disappear. She just finally realized her own worth. 2 months later, I sat on the old dock, laptop open to the latest Sterling earnings report. The Turner Corp deal had gone through, on my terms. Marcus had been reassigned to a smaller division after the merger, his golden boy status tarnished by his failure to secure better terms from his own sister. My phone buzzed with a text from Mom. Family dinner on Sunday. We should talk. I looked out at the lake, remembering all the lessons Grandpa had taught me here. Success wasn't about proving others wrong. It was about proving yourself right. But sometimes, just sometimes, you got to do both. I typed back, can't make it, board meeting at Sterling, but you're welcome to stop by the lake house, if you can afford the drive. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about getting even. It's about rising so far above those who doubted you that they can't help but look up and wonder how they missed your light. 1 year later, I stood in Grandpa's study at the lake house, now restored to exactly how he had kept it. His old fishing rod still hung on the wall, and his worn leather chair sat behind the desk where he taught me about business ethics and market analysis. The merger between Turner Corp and Sterling Industries had transformed both companies. Our technology had streamlined their operations beyond even their optimistic projections. Marcus had eventually found his footing in a smaller regional office, humbled but perhaps better for it. My parents had tried to mend fences several times, each attempt tinged with a newfound respect they couldn't quite hide. Last month, Mom had even asked me to speak at her women's business luncheon about building a technology empire. I politely declined. Instead, I channeled my energy into creating the Thomas Sterling Foundation, named after Grandpa. We provided funding and mentorship to young entrepreneurs who, like me, had visions others couldn't see. The foundation's headquarters, a small office building downtown, right where my family once mocked my tiny startup. Grandpa passed away peacefully 3 months ago. At his funeral, I discovered one last gift he'd left me, a letter written years ago after I'd landed my first major client. My dearest Olivia, by now you've probably discovered my little trick with the lake house deed. I always knew you'd build something extraordinary, even when others couldn't see it. Success isn't about proving people wrong. It's about proving yourself right. You've done both. The lake house was never about the property. It was about the lessons learned there, the confidence built, the dreams shaped. You understood that. Marcus never did. Keep fishing for opportunities. Keep building your empire. But most importantly, keep being the woman who didn't need anyone's approval to change the world. I'm proud of you, not for what you built, but for how you built it. Love, Grandpa. I folded the letter carefully and placed it in my desk drawer. Outside, the lake sparkled in the afternoon sun, just as it had all those years ago when a young girl sat on the dock, dreaming of building something bigger than anyone could imagine. Sometimes the greatest victory isn't in proving your worth to others, but in proving to yourself that you never needed their validation in the first place. The lake house wasn't just a property. It was a reminder that success comes to those who believe in themselves when no one else will. As for my family, they finally learned what Grandpa knew all along. True power isn't in what you own, but in what you build. And I had built something that would last generations. Looking out at the lake, I smiled. Somewhere, Grandpa was probably doing the same.